Welcome to this episode of Block Talk. I am so excited to be talking with Dr. Unity Nguyen. She is one of our instructors and she has so many valuable insights to share. But first, I'm going to read her bio. Dr. Unity Nguyen, MD, LAC, is a rare integrative physician with an MD from UCSF, over 2 decades experience in acupuncture and herbs, and specializing in high performance, longevity, and tough chronic conditions. Block therapy is among the most powerful tools she has found to help people regain body, mind, and mood health. In addition to practicing holistic family medicine, Dr. Unity also offers advanced labs and protocols for gut health, toxins, genetics, food sensitivities, hormones, and micronutrients. She lives on Hawaii Island, and for fun and health, she teaches dance and world music, including the 21-day string African kora. Dr. Unity is excited to help you live healthier, smarter, and happier. Thank you so much for taking the time, Dr. Unity. It is such a pleasure to have you.
It is such a pleasure to be here, Deanna. I am just so on board with the mission of block therapy to release fascia and get the world feeling better. Thank you so much for your work.
So, because you have such an extensive background in so many different modalities, let's just kind of dive in and tell people what led you into the work that you're doing and then how you found block therapy and just share a little bit about your story.
Sure. Well, as you recently said, everybody has their personal journey into the healing. And mine largely was being a refugee from Vietnam when the war ended in 1975. And the levels of PTSD personally and in the community. So I really appreciate the gut-brain connection and all of the emotions that and the memories that are stored in the fascia and in the abdominal fascia in particular. So I love that we always start on the belly position. So I grew up in a family that did a lot of community work, playing music, organizing Vietnamese festivals for the community. So I got to be steeped in all that culture and went on to do a lot of community work and ended up in the Peace Corps in Africa doing ecological work.
Oh.
And in my 2 years there, I realized that my picture of health is, the ecology, and then within that, the culture and the community, and within that, the family and the individual. So all of those levels of health are nested within each other. So focusing on the individual and community health, I went into public health studies and went into Chinese medicine studies and then the Western medicine studies, largely because I'm very cautious of Western medicine and wanted to understand it from the inside out to see where it can be applied safely. And then coming out and integrating these various factors, um, I was actually extremely ill by the time that I finished Western medical school. I spent up to 18 hours a day in bed, but I couldn't sleep. I would sometimes crawl out of bed and get some food and crawl back into bed. So and I had my whole life I had symptoms of parasites. And in the 2 years in Africa and the 2 years following, I hope this isn't too much information for anyone. Bowels are so important, but for 4 years straight, I had diarrhea, not a single solid bowel movement. So I couldn't absorb my nutrition. And Chinese medicine was the thing that I remember my first solid bowel movement was after my teachers were treating me. And then I was still extremely depleted. So my partner at the time took me to see a functional medicine doctor. And by then, my hormones were crashed out, my cortisol was bottomed out, but spiked at night, and so I couldn't sleep. I had gone through a number of different infections, skin issues, just a whole plethora of symptoms. And then the functional medicine, I did the advanced testing. I dialed in the lifestyle, took the very focused supplements, and it's an ongoing journey. It's been decades since I started that journey and am still always finding ways to improve the health. But boy, at age 52, I am so much better and teaching African dance and having a career and a wonderful relationship. And then block therapy came into my life. Woo! And it put together so many pieces of, I'll tell you more about how I see it bringing together the cutting edge of modern science understanding with the ancient wisdom of Chinese medicine.
That's why I'm so excited to be diving into this. First of all, the fact that you used your own life challenges, struggles to find your way out and through and continue to do so. I mean, I always feel the wisdom that we gain from understanding our own struggles and then finding those solutions, that's how we can so beautifully assist others on the journey. And the fact that you've layered so many different aspects of health and pulling in the ancient practices. So yes, please dive in more. I'm so excited to hear your viewpoint on all of this. Oh, your
Oh, there we go.
yeah.
Okay. So, in terms of the fascia, the first mention that I see of it by that term in history is from Andrew Taylor Still, who was the physician and surgeon who founded osteopathy. And he described it as the fascia sheathes, permeates, divides, and subdivides every portion of all animal bodies. By its actions, we live, and by its failure, we shrink or swell and die. That's how profound this fascia is. It permeates everything in all living beings. And then, okay, so between the layers of fascia is this fluid called the interstitium. And modern science did not know of its existence until around, I think it's around 2017 or 2018. We start seeing these scientific articles. We've discovered a new organ. Or now they say, okay, it's not an organ, it's a system. And modern science wasn't aware because when we study anatomy with cadavers, the cadavers are embalmed in a way that dries up all the fluid. So we would see these layers of material, that the fascia, that we would just dissect and get out of the way to look at the structures. And now we're realizing this is where the magic is at. Okay, so the Scientist magazine says the human body is enmeshed in an intricate internal web of living spaces known as the interstitium. These fractal-like structures create a vast honeycomb network of fluid-filled openings within and between tissues and organs that spans the body and acts as a thoroughfare, a sophisticated system of connected tissue, including collagen and other proteins, that's the fascia, supports the continuity of this interstitial network. And the interstitium is increasingly being recognized as a fundamental anatomic structure and body-wide communication system. The interstitium may be the missing piece of the puzzle that helps explain the interconnectivity between every cell, tissue, organ, and hidden crevice in the body. There isn't a tissue that isn't riddled with the spaces, and interstitium has the ability to communicate through the body across every scale from the quantum electromagnetic level all the way up to the cellular level. And this is in a science magazine. It's talking about quantum communication through the body supported by these fascia. And so when the fascia are nicely lined up, then the interstitium can be nicely lined up. You know, like water is an H, a hydrogen with two oxygens. So it's got that polarity, it's got the positive and the negative. So it lines up in our body. And when it's all smoothly lined up, then you get this quantum communication through the body. And it even affects the migration of cancer cells as well as nutrition and information. And so another crazy fascinating thing about the fascia is that collagen, when you stack it up high enough, it becomes a piezoelectric crystal. So piezoelectric means, okay, in my instrument, I've got this little pickup and it's two metals and it converts the vibration energy into an electrical signal to go into my amplifier. So our collagen, whenever we move, it's generating electrical energy. Oh, this just, I just love it. Okay, so, and it took modern science up to like 8 years ago to even have a clue. And you've been studying this for 20 years. And then the connection with Chinese medicine, which has been working with this for thousands of years. Okay, when we look at those diagrams of the fascia, you see this one network that comes along one side of the body. It crosses over and it goes down the outside leg of the opposite side of the body. And this is the exact distribution of one of the Chinese medicine channels, the gallbladder channel, that connects the upper and lower body, the left and the right body. So I've been finding that a lot of the channels, they line up with what we know of the fascial network. And then there is this brilliant researcher, Helene Langevin, whose team was able to use ultrasound to look at what happens with the fascia when you put an acupuncture needle in the body. So the fascia, the collagen, it comes and it wraps around the acupuncture needle. And we're talking about the collagen layers being related with the electrical conduction and this fluid between the collagen layers transmitting on a quantum level through the body. So yeah, so thank you for bringing the fascia to light in a way that we can access and just do it at home. It's changed my body. It's changed my karmic being through changing my posture. And I've been doing the jaw thing every morning and just all the ways that you are helping people. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for that phenomenal explanation. Being able to dive in and really put it into such scientific expressions is so helpful for so many people. And I just love how you see it. And I mean, your excitement around this is just so beautiful to see because that's what we want. We want people excited to be sharing this information with the masses. So, I'd love to talk about when you do see a client, what is your approach to assisting them with your work?
Oh, sure. Ooh, before we go there, can I add one more thing
Please.
about, yeah, parallels between Chinese medicine and your work
Yes.
um, through the fascia. So you say that after the breath, the most important thing is the toe work. And then you're showing us people how to do the hand fascia at home with no equipment at all. And so when I do block therapy classes, actually right after the class, I offer group acupuncture using this this classical protocol called the four gates, which is on the hands and the feet. And I think of it as, when you have a straw and you hold the end of the straw, all the fluid stays inside. And when you open the end of the straw, the whole channel flows. And so all of the channels in Chinese medicine start or end in the extremities, in the hands and feet, in the head. And so when you are helping us to open the ends of our fascial channels, it's the exact same thing that I do with the four gates in Chinese medicine, is to access the entire, you talk about how, you're opening up the entire body by accessing the hands and feet. So I love that parallel as well. Okay, so on to your question about how I approach helping my clients. So people come with so many different conditions and very unique stories, very personal stories. At the same time, there is a framework where I can look at pretty much any condition. And this framework looks at three categories. And the first is what's there that's not supposed to be there is the toxins. The second category is what's supposed to be there that's not there is the deficiencies. And the third category as key as any is the mindset. So toxins, deficiencies, and mindset. And then we can look at what is the unique person's unique aspects of the toxins and the detox system. What are their particular setups for having particular deficiencies, like the gut and other aspects that affect our absorption of the nutritions we need, and then the mindset. And after I discuss my approach, I'm really excited to reflect how block therapy answers each of these categories and just helps my work be so much more effective for the folks I'm working with. And then, hey, can I share some slides?
Yes, please.
All right, let's see here. Share. Here we go. Do you see my slide?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Oh, here we go. How about now?
Yes.
Okay. So when we are talking about the root causes, here's toxins, deficiencies, and the mindset. So just going into a little more detail, and folks, feel free to take a screenshot of this because there's a lot of detail here that I'm just going to touch on briefly. So in terms of toxins, there are biotoxins which come from inside our own body for various reasons. Like there is a natural little bit of mold in most of us. But here in Hawaii, in the tropics, and in many places, especially people who crave sugar and live on sugar, the mold loves the sugar.
Mm.
And there are toxins that come from our food for various reasons. There are parasites, there are viruses, there are bacteria. And then from the outside world, the external toxins, there are so many sources of chemical toxins in our modern life. In the last 100 years, there's 100,000 new human-made chemicals, most of them not even tested for their effect on us. And our liver has to deal with all of this. And then heavy metals, if anybody my age is old enough to have been exposed to leaded gasoline. We've got a little bit of lead stored deep in us. Mercury fillings, even if they've been removed, we were exposed to that, and the body does not want the heavy metals to run around, so it stores it away in deep places. And then there is the electromagnetic toxins. Let's go to deficiencies. In the nervous system, our posture creates those deficiencies that you talk about, how our forward posture affects the vagus nerve and its fascia so much. And the innate nervous system just being in sympathetic mode from just all of the stimulation of our modern life. The oxygen, deficiency of oxygen from structural issues, from that diaphragm being locked up, the way that, oh, you can already see how block therapy addresses so much of these pieces that I work with. And then, micronutrients, the various micronutrients in the soil being so depleted. And then our fast food ways and eating fast, and the gut, when it's compromised by the heavy metals and chemicals and compromised by the mold and the bacteria being not balanced, we can't even absorb what nutrition we do get, even if we had still healthy soil and even if we eat all organic. So just all these ways where our modern lifestyle sets us up for these imbalances. And look at this, all the ways that block therapy helps. Detoxifying, like helping us open up our lymph channels and softening the encasement of the liver so that it can do its job. Increasing our blood supply, so which not only brings the nutrients in but carries that waste out. And then the deficiencies directly, so powerfully working with the nervous system and with the posture that helps the nervous system. And oxygen, oh my gosh, I don't even have to preach to the choir. You know how our breathing is changed by the block therapy. And then the psychology level, whew, my mood, my brain function have all improved with this block therapy work. And also the sense of community we have from you and from all our block therapy community. It's just this point of light that just spreads. So that's just really briefly looking at some of the factors that we consider in each individual person's balance. And then once we figure out all of this map, I'm going to go to another map here. This is a map of the bigger journey. All of that first map of toxins, deficiencies, mindset is here in this first bubble, revealing the root causes. And we reveal that through the history that the person brings. When someone comes to me, they invest about an hour or two to fill out some very detailed forms that assesses the risk factors for all these different things that I named and more. And then in the physical exam, we look at the tongue and pulse. We look at the fingernails. We look at a lot of signs that tell us about the toxins and deficiencies. And then there are labs. There are labs that are available through insurance, but most primary doctors are not trained to access this information. And then, so even with your insurance covered labs, there is a wealth of information. For example, deeper thyroid panels. There are heavy metal tests available. There are some vitamin and mineral labs available through insurance. And beyond insurance, there are some really powerful private pay labs for gut biome, for hormones, for toxins, for micronutrients, and those help us to reveal the root causes. And as specific as we can get with understanding what those root causes are, then we can get that specific about optimizing the personalized health plan. And that can involve adjusting the lifestyle. There's so much we can do with our daily choices and focus supplements that you don't want too much of something you already have. You need to know which supplements you need so you don't waste your money and tax the system with more stuff to absorb. And the personalized health plan always includes just as much as anything else, making sure the mindset is in place and the supports that are needed so that when you get the results, you go to the last bubble, you can sustain your results. So that is the big picture. I'm going to stop the share screen here. Let's see. If I can figure out how. I don't suppose you're able to do it on your end.
Let's check. I'm not sure. I don't think I can. Oh, maybe I can right here.
Oh, thank
You
you.
know, I don't know. Let me see. Yep, got it. There we go.
Oh.
Okay. I'm always scared to touch anything because I'm like, am I going to end up turning this thing off? That's happened before.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
first of all, I love your approach because I mean, for so many people, they can just dive into the block and life goes on and they do this practice. But for other people that, have so much going on inside their body and to really get that profound with your information, I love that approach that you have because you can give people a very systemized roadmap. And you can watch then as well and see their changes along the way and support them in that way. So I think that your approach is so beautiful and so full that I mean anybody that's really struggling to understand their body, like these are the things that we need to be able to dive in and really see what are those things that we're lacking, that we have too much of, and also how is that impacting your mind, right? Like how do we see each day of our life? Are we afraid of life, or are we excited and we're ready to thrive in life? And I mean, giving you those opportunities to, through community and your wisdom, take people by the hand is really beautiful and so powerful. So I just want to just thank you so much because again, like to have your background and then to be able to add this in and share all of that, I'm just so grateful for you to provide this much more information to our community. It's beautiful.
Thank you. A really fun aspect of knowledge that we can tap into about ourselves is the genetics. It's very interesting. I mean, what do we know? We scratch the surface of the universal knowledge, but we do have some powerful insights into how the genetics influence us. And the cool thing is that, like the genetic testing, hundreds of genetic SNPs, and the ones that are tested are the ones that can be modified by our daily choices in our foods and our lifestyle. Excuse me. So then that becomes a very powerful tool of knowledge when we can actually choose and see how we can make the most of what we get ancestrally and turn those genes on and off. But I'll tell you what, I'll tell you a story about a dear client, Joel, and he allows me to use his name. He came to me with gut issues, as many of us do, and the gut is the center of our getting our nutrition and eliminating a lot of waste, and it also is a center of the nervous system, has more neural connections than anywhere except for the brain and spinal cord. It has a huge amount of our immune system. All of the neurotransmitters that our brain uses, like serotonin, which helps us feel good, up to 95% is made in the gut. So the gut, I always look at the gut health. And so Joel came to me with a lifetime of gut issues. And we did the acupuncture, we did the herbs, we did the fancy tests, we did the supplements, we did all that, and it did not resolve his issues. So at this time, a couple years ago, I had started hearing about block therapy and I hadn't gotten into it yet. And I said, well, Joel, I've been hearing about this thing called block therapy. I think it's worth you trying out. So he tried it out before I did. He comes back to me and he says, Dr. Unity, my gut issues are gone. And
Wow.
so sometimes, this hollow, beautiful block of wood is helping my clients in ways that the fancy stuff it doesn't always do it. So what a great pairing of this adding this wonderful tool to help my clients.
Thank you. And what a great story. I mean, and that's not the case obviously for everybody, but yeah, to have this as a compliment, I'm really grateful that it can be paired with pretty much anything and everything. And again, to have somebody like you with your incredible background and knowledge base and wisdom from your own personal experiences to combine that with is just such a gift and a blessing for me as well. So yeah, thank you for sharing that story.
Deanna, you had in a recent blog talk, I'm sorry, I don't remember the beautiful gentleman's name who organizes that council that the
Yes,
name of
Nathan Crane. Yeah, the Holistic Leadership Council.
Holistic Leadership Council. It sounds very interesting to me. I'd love to get more information about that.
I will absolutely connect you. Yes, you would be a beautiful addition to that council. It is full of incredible people, most of them medical doctors that have found the holistic component to combining that because we need it all. So, yay. Okay. Well, I'm so glad you brought that up. We're actually
Perfect.
having our retreat in Mexico next April, so perhaps we will see you there. Awesome.
Okay, sounds very interesting.
So you have a couple of other things to share here. One is a little talk about your music a little bit because this is really exciting for me.
Okay, yes, very exciting for me too. So, as mentioned, I grew up in a family that organized music and cultural festivals for our community. So I got to immerse in the Vietnamese music. I was the youngest of seven children. And so I was three by the time we landed in a refugee camp in the US after several other interesting stops. So my older siblings would sit around and play guitar and sing because that's what you do when, you don't have, it was MTV when I was growing up, but when you don't have, YouTube and all that, you sit around and you sing. So I got immersed in the music first that way. I went on to study a lot of different instruments, and then I got deeply into African music. I thought at one point that the traditional African rhythms were my life path, and they still are. And I still sometimes teach African dance, And so my instrument, the kora, is from West Africa. And I have a band called Band of Angels. It's got 3 or 4 part female vocal harmonies,
Oh.
and yeah, all like spiritual music from different areas of the world, from our different cultures. And I combine Vietnamese and African lyrics sometimes, and English lyrics. I play classical piano and learn my theory and all that. So the music is, we are music. Our cells vibrating, and the planets and the galaxies spin in rhythm. And it is the music of the heavens, and we are part of it. So when we sing, even when we talk, and even when we walk, there's rhythm in everything, in our breath. So the music to me, it is accessing all these divine levels of harmony and rhythm. And whatever intention, whatever prayer, whatever state, it comes through the music and it affects our world. So that's what the music is to me. And I just, sometimes I step back and play less music, but it still permeates in the dreams and deeply inside of us. And there's like the larger cultural levels of musical evolution that we're part of, and that is a way for different cultures to meet each other. Like there was this one gathering where Israelis and Arabs came together and sang. And how powerful is that?
Hmm.
It is a way where we can sometimes find common ground when we don't even have a common language.
Yeah, it's
So,
a beautiful bridge. Are you going to give us a little sampling of what you do?
sure, sure. Okay, so the kora has 21 strings. They say it is 7 strings to tell of the past, 7 of the present, and 7 of the future.
Hmm. Okay.
Or 7 of our childhood, 7 of our adult life, and 7 of our old age. So oh, my dear husband is turning on the amp for me, and I'm gonna switch a button here. Okay. Can you hear it?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Sorry if there's some buzz back there. La ila 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 supanale semete charabi. La ila 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 supanale. La ila 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 supanale sebete charabi chon bananiro furo donte dokatori fe. Adon jarabi gele ma.
Woo! That was amazing. Oh my gosh, you have such an angelic voice and presence, and the sound the kora makes is unbelievable. Thank you for that gift. That is
Oh, my
amazing.
pleasure. And people ask, what does it mean? So, jarabi is love or passion, but it is beyond the normal human love or passion. Jarabi has no eyes, it has no head, it has no legs. What is this greatest passion? It is our connection with the divine. So that's what the song is about.
Well, and I mean, I just got vibrations through my whole body when you were singing and playing that. So no question how it impacts our healing. And whew, yeah, I could listen to that all day long. Do you have
Ah.
do you have are you on Spotify? Like, how can people find you to listen to this music?
Come to Hawaii and come to one of our prayer performances.
Okay, I'm in. I want to go
Yeah.
there.
All right. Yeah. My yoga teacher, Eugene, who was
Yeah.
one of the people who finally got me into doing the block therapy, we talk about how can we get Deanna here to our community. So we hope that happens.
Oh, well, okay. Well, keep pushing me on that one because I definitely want to go
Okay.
there.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so you are so full and complete, I feel, with your offerings and your whole presence in life is so amazing. And on top of that, you even have another thing to share with our community. So let's talk a little bit about the free gift that you're sharing with everyone.
I'm really honored. Okay, so I mentioned this process of individualized integrative medicine, looking at your specific history in detail and your symptoms of various systems in your body, your adrenal, your absorption, your stress levels, your social factors, your sleep, your teeth, so many aspects. Whether you were exposed to lead through fishing and ceramics and working with cars. I mean, there's so many things that we can identify. Oh, we need to look deeper into that. So I would like to offer this in-depth integrative consult to our community at a very special price because I just love the block therapy community. So I'll go back to my screen in a second. So the special offer is, so the process involves, as I mentioned, you commit a couple hours of your time to put down this information of your life, of your health journey. And then we sit down and we consult for an hour. And so I can really clarify and understand that history and understand your values and priorities and what's important to you and what outcomes you want. And then I look, well, if you are in person, I get your pulse. But there's a lot we can do through video as well, looking at the nails, looking at your face, looking at your body features, and looking at your tongue. We can do that on video. That gives me a lot of information. And then we can look at the next most powerful steps for you to take to move towards your health goals. And that can include daily lifestyle things that, we talk about what you're ready to change and what you choose to change, what works for you, what you're ready to apply on the daily level. We can talk about labs that you can get through insurance, through your primary care doctor, and we can talk about those really powerful advanced labs that can give great insight as well. So it is a powerful step towards getting a handle on where you're at and what are the next steps towards your best health. So the special gift to the community is $100 off of the consult, which is normally $360. So it is only $260 for, and I review your forms in advance. I spend some time there, and then we sit down for an hour. So I'm going to share my screen one more time, if I may. I made a QR code if
Okay.
you want to snap it on your phone. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
All right. So if anyone wants to tag this opportunity, then you just hold your phone and point it at the screen, and you click on that blue design there. And then when I do it on my phone, I have to take one more step. I have to click a little button that says, I think it says bit.ly, and then that will open up the page that lets you see the description of my process And then you can even book your appointment right there. And this little square gives you the special $100 off. And I'm not offering this to anybody else. It's because of, just the way that block therapy has changed my life and is helping so many of my clients. So I'm just so happy to share the wealth.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so very much for your time, for your generosity, and your beautiful voice and playing. That was just lovely. So appreciate you so very much, Dr. Unity, as does our community. And to our community, thank you also for taking the time to listen. And we look forward to seeing you next time.